Hi everybody, and welcome back to Crypto Simplified. The cryptocurrency market is looking really positive. There's a ton of optimistic sentiment in the market right now. Are we nearing the end of this bear market, or as some would like to call it, the accumulation period? I hope you've managed to fill your bags with a lot of cut price cryptocurrency. If you have any favorite projects, I do hope that you consolidated in this bear market. Just like a lot of people in this space, I think it's about time that this bear market comes to an end, and in this video I want to talk to you about 3 of my favorite projects that I think will show some great positive price action, especially if we have a bull market just around the corner. However, before I get into that, thank you all so much for all the fantastic feedback. Thank you for all the likes, for the shares, and welcome to all the new subscribers. If you're new over here, I'd like you to know that you can always drop me a message on Twitter or leave a comment on these videos at any time. If you've got any questions, I'd love to answer them if I can. If I can't answer those questions, I'll try to put you in touch with people who can, or put you in touch with resources that might clear up your doubts a little bit better. So, having said that, let's get right into this market then. Let's have a look at the overall market just to see how things are going so we have a better understanding of where we are right now. And we do have a bit of positive action. A lot of the big assets have been moving a fair amount in the last few days, and today we don't really have too much movement in those super large caps other than Cardano. Cardano's moving quite well, Stellar's moving pretty well too, but we don't really have huge double-digit movements anywhere in the market right now. Bitcoin dominance is at 42.1%. It was at about 45% over the weekend and towards the end of last week. We've seen a slight dip in that. The nature of this price movement is sort of inconclusive because we don't know if it's actually people cashing out their Bitcoin into alts or new money coming into the alts. It's really hard to say that just now, but what we do know for sure is that the alts and Bitcoin need to play off each other. It's highly possible that we can have a massive Bitcoin bull run and all the money bleeds out of the alts back into Bitcoin. Anything can happen, but I'm thinking that's slightly unlikely because the alts have had a real bad bashing over the last 3 months. So has Bitcoin, but the alts have really been hit hard because as well as losing valuation in Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin has been really plummeting. So the alt holders have really suffered over the last few months. So I'm thinking it's pretty likely that we can have a Bitcoin and alt run at the same time. That's possible. I think it's unlikely that we can have just an alt run because the value of the altcoins is so deeply linked to the value of Bitcoin. So I think that scenario is fairly unlikely, but there are 2 possible scenarios. One, in my opinion, a little bit more likely than the other. Remember, this is just my opinion. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I will be showing you a few projects that I like. This is not a blind endorsement of how good these projects are. I just want you to know that these are projects that I find interesting and you can have a look at them yourself. Do let me know what you think about them. I'd love to have an open debate on this channel. So let's get straight into my first pick, and it's a fairly popular coin, but it's had a pretty bad time over the last few months, and I think we are just around the corner for some great price movement, and that coin is called Monero. So it's at about $192 right now. I think that's fairly good value, but the real reason why I think it's a good pick right now is because there's just been a lot of news about Monero's hard forks. So there's a great article over here that talks about the 4 hard fork projects that came as a result of this Monero fork. So the big discussion in the Monero community hinged around ASIC resistance. So a lot of people in the Monero community were a little worried that if people could mine Monero tokens on an ASIC miner, that there was a high chance of centralization of the tokens. So as a community, they decided to have a hard fork to ensure that the Monero cryptocurrency is ASIC resistant. However, there were a few people who disagreed, and they have now forked off into a different currency, and now these guys are not ASIC resistant. So it seems like the Monero community has fractured a little bit, but there is a lot of the focus is still on the primary Monero token. The price has been quite low, and that is exactly why I think this is a great opportunity. Privacy coins will never go out of fashion. A major part of cryptocurrency is making sure your transactions are untraceable, and that is a massive attractive point for people to hold Monero. So because of that, because there's always going to be a need for privacy, I think Monero is very well placed for some great upward price action. So I've drawn my lines over here. So the lower blue line is an old support / resistance line. We're currently over there using that as a bit of support, but in the past that was seen as resistance. I already have a fair amount of Monero. I will consolidate just a little bit more if it breaks and goes below that support line. However, I do think that this is an attractive price, especially compared to what the price could be after about 2 weeks of a bull run. I think Monero is incredibly undervalued at this point in time, both in Bitcoin value as well as in fiat value. So I'm looking at a buy interval of 0.0235 to 0.0255. So that's a fairly liberal swing range of the price, but I do think that we are in a really good sweet spot right now, and if there is massive positive price movement, these little differences could really be seen as almost insignificant. And then following on, we have another great coin. There was a lot of upward movement, but I was waiting for a pullback before I consolidated. This one isn't as expensive per unit as Monero, but I do think that this coin has a phenomenal amount of value because of who's issuing it. And this coin is called BNB, the Binance coin. Binance are the largest exchange in the world right now by volume. They keep listing a whole bunch of new tokens all the time, and they have a great system of using their token to reduce trade fees. The beauty of the Binance coin is that you are investing now to pay less in trade fees later on, because as the price of this token appreciates, it'll be a smaller chunk of the token that's being used for your trades. So that means investing in Binance coin when the price is low could have several positive effects on your trading life. So I think that this is a really great coin to have. I don't think you can ever really have enough of this, because firstly, Binance is an exchange that wants to really challenge everyone in the space. Binance wants to be a thought leader. They want to be the innovators in the space, and BNB tokens will be a fantastic asset to hold. Also, remember, Binance are releasing a decentralized exchange, and BNB will be an asset that is used as trading pairs on their decentralized exchange. So the value of this token is potentially going to be really, really huge. One can argue that the current pullback that we're facing in BNB right now is because of the end of that hype of the announcement of the decentralized exchange. But that's exactly why you wait and why you don't FOMO. Yes, the price has gone up, but everything that goes up will come back down to a certain extent. So if you're patient, you can pick up a lot more for the same price, i.e. more bang for your buck. And I think right now, Binance is one of those bang for your buck tokens, because we are pulling back in a major way. So if you look at the blue line, that is sort of what I would personally consider the most I would pay for BNB. So I'm hoping for further pullbacks, and if it does go there, I will consolidate further. But I still don't think it's a bad buy by any means if you make a purchase before the upper blue line. So I've got 0.023 Ethereum per unit up to 0.0255. So the difference between my buy intervals is about 10 to 15%. I never buy my asset in one shot. I'll always stagger my entry points as well as my exit points, because I want to get the most of the market movement as possible. You want more bang for your buck. You want to buy as much of the token as possible with the little budget that you have. And I think being patient will really pay off in this market. I'm someone who's not that patient, and this is a real challenge for me. This bear market was difficult. I had to sit on my hands a lot because even if you're up in a bear market, imagine how far up you can be when the bulls finally arrive. This is still, in my opinion, an accumulation period. I don't think the bulls are here just yet, and I think any purchases made right now will seem like absolute bargains, an absolute steal compared to where the prices will be in a few months' time. So I am finalizing my shopping before I start selling a lot more when the market reversal hopefully happens. And I hope that happens very soon. Having said that about BNB, let's have a look at my last pick. I've actually made an entire video on this project, and I think it is possibly going to be one of the bedrocks of our society as we go forward, because everyone needs energy. We need to generate cleaner energy, and WePower has that solution. So WePower are up almost 15% today. The markets weren't treating them too well. There was a bit of a pullback, and of course the falling price of Bitcoin really affected them as well, as it did for the entire market. But I honestly believe that WePower is going to be one of those cryptocurrency game changers. So I entered at the ICO. I haven't sold any of the tokens that I got at the ICO. Of course, there's that 0.2 Ethereum contribution limit. So this is a highly centralized token. Of course, in the interim, I'm sure people would have sold their tokens, and there are now some really big bag holders around the world. But I do think that WePower is one of those great projects that can really skyrocket. And that is because these guys are now going to go from that prototype phase to the real world integration phase. So in April, that platform is going to be launched. That hasn't happened just yet, but we have about half of the month to go. So maybe this current price action that we're seeing is an anticipation of this. Remember, in cryptocurrency, people buy the rumor and sell the news. In further development in the WePower space, they're going to be connected to the main energy grid in May. They're going to start testing the platform nationwide in Estonia in Q3 of this year. And then they have projects coming up in Spain, all over Europe, North Africa. There are a lot of projects in the works that are going to be funded by the WePower platform. So I think in terms of upward potential, as well as in terms of contributing to the future of the global energy generation, I think WePower, for me, is an absolute no-brainer. I was super enthusiastic about investing in it at the ICO. My enthusiasm is only going up at this point in time. I will be hodling this till the sun goes black, just like I will be for ADA. So, where would you buy WePower if you're going to buy? I think currently it's broken that resistance that we've had over here at the 0.00024 Ethereum mark. However, now that we've broken that resistance, I only wonder how far up this can go. Of course, remember, wherever there's an up, there's a down. If you're just seeing green candles, look out, because there could be some red candles approaching pretty soon, and that's when you might be able to enter the market. And remember, folks, if you are buying an asset that's shooting up the charts, you're probably buying in closer to the end of the rally than you are to the beginning. So be very, very careful with all kinds of FOMO investing. I would never actively encourage it, but I do think that WePower is one of those incredible HODL tokens. So those are my 3 picks for this inevitable bull run. I think when this bull run eventually hits us, it'll hit us like a meteor strike, because we will be rocked to the core by the impact of this bull run, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will be in all the news again. It's just a matter of when, not if. Buy low, sell high, and just be ready. Have your bags ready for those bull runs. Once the bull run hits, you've got to know exactly what you're going to do. Key in your targets now. If you're buying now, talk about your acceptable profit margins and just get ready for those bulls to arrive. I do hope you folks are prepared for the awesomeness that is approaching. So do leave a like, do subscribe. If you like my content, do tell your friends. This is Mark from Crypto Simplified signing off. I do hope you guys have an awesome rest of the day. I hope you're prepared for the arrival of the bulls. We shall catch up very, very soon. Later.